Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Super Cross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited today. I've got with us uh, the CEO and founder of a new, relatively new to me portal that's doing crowdfunding. Vontenea Stokes is her name. This is going to be such an important conversation. Stick around. You don't want to miss this. Vontenea, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Devin. Glad to be here.
Well, we're excited to learn more. I think before you created Secure Living, your regulated crowdfunding portal, I think you were an investor before. What inspired you to create a crowdfunding portal?
Sure. So that's correct. I am an investor. I've been investing for several years, and I had a desire to really get my family and friends involved in my real estate business. It was successful. It is successful, and I wanted others to be able to build off what I was creating, and that really, prompted my co-founder and I to go down this journey to say, okay, well, how can we not only get our family and friends involved, how do we get more people involved? And that's when we, really learned about equity crowdfunding specifically, as a possibility for real estate. Um, and we decided, okay, do we want to take this journey because it is quite complicated. It can be to start a regulated funding portal, but we decided that it's what we wanted to do to get regulated, and here we are today.
It really is let's be honest, it's a kind of a complicated marketplace.
Hmm.
And the Securities and Exchange Commission can come in and audit you anytime. FINRA comes in regularly and visits, and they do their own audits independent of the Securities and Exchange Commission. And so, in the same year, you could get both. Uh, there's a lot going on there.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your experience and why you thought it was worth going through this exercise of compliance to
Hmm.
participate.
Sure. So it is quite, it can be quite challenging. Um, but we're really happy to do it because at the end of the day, we're dealing with people's finances. So, of course, funds need to be dealt with diligently. People need to have trust in your organization, in your company. And for us, it was definitely worth the challenges of getting regulated by FINRA, being a member, of the SEC, to go through that process and really define all of our processes and our procedures to be able to give people access to real estate investments. For us, it was totally worth it, and it's still totally worth it.
I'm glad it's proving to be worth it because it is so incredibly difficult. I wonder if you would dare tell us a little bit about some of the offerings that are either on the platform now or have been on recently, so that people get an understanding of the kinds of things they would see there if they were to visit your website, Secure Living.
Sure. So, like I said, it is a real estate, focused crowdfunding portal. When we talk about real estate, we like to keep it relatively broad. I know some other portals only focus on, a certain facet of real estate, but we like to keep our offerings open when it comes to the property types. So, what you'll find on there now is a property for a single family residential where there's a tenant placed. Um, and a potential opportunity for that rental income monthly. And then there's another offering on there that is like a mixed use space for events and things of that nature. And we have other opportunities upcoming right now that include actually a manufacturing facility and also a hospital. So the offerings, like I mentioned, are varied, and we do that because we want to empower people to be able to really pick and choose which offerings are most suitable to them, and we like to keep it diversified in property types as well as the security itself, whether it be debt or equity or profit sharing, things of that nature.
Fantastic. Well, Vontenea, one of the things that I'm seeing in crowdfunding is that it is working well, better in some ways than venture capital for diverse founders, for women and for minorities. And part of that, I think, comes from the place where they start by building capital from their own communities, right?
Hmm.
And so they're not disadvantaged in because everyone has a community. Um, but one of the things that I've been working on is trying to encourage more people who look like me to be a little bit more deliberate about investing in people who look more like you.
Hmm.
What would you say to encourage people to be a little bit more deliberate about that? It seems like we're missing out if we're not a little bit deliberate about making those investments. But what do you think?
Um, yeah, I would definitely agree. I think that there is a high success rate that we do see, especially in women of color, specifically. And I think it has something to do with that just determination and that grit that comes with you know being told no, or you can't do this so many times, time after time after time. We know that black founders, that women founders receive less capital investments, especially if you look at like the VC area and things of that nature. So I do think that there's definitely opportunities, you know innovation and things of that nature when it comes to diverse founders.
Yeah, and there is some data to suggest that diverse founders are actually doing better. Certainly, there's great data that suggests diverse teams that
Yes.
include lots of perspectives outperform, uh, the monocultural deals. In fact, I was looking at one deal last night that I was considering, and they had posted a list of 11 senior managers,
Hmm.
and I was stunned. In that group of 11, there was not one woman,
Mm,
right? And I just thought, that's not something I would ever support, right? What kind of, how could you perform without at least a little? How do you build a team of 11 people without one woman? You'd have to
yeah.
try. You'd have to be so careful.
Mhm.
Anyway, but yeah, there does seem to be some data that suggests that women and minorities are outperforming and perhaps that's because of the challenges they face, the discipline that imposes on them, and
Mhm.
their work ethic. I don't know. What's your take on why women and minorities often outperform white men?
Well, like I mentioned, I think one of those factors is that grit that I mentioned, and that determination. And I mean, also, individuals bring a certain level of experience just because of their background, because of upbringing and things of that nature. So I do think that even with the example that you just said, like how much more successful could that team be with individuals who have a different experience and different perspective being on that team. So I do think that that could be one of the factors. Just having a bit of a diversified, whether it's upbringing or experiences, that definitely can benefit companies when it comes to innovation, and it absolutely benefits teams.
It is. I think it's just a really important principle for us. And as I think about investing, one of the things that I would see is that in many ways, real estate is probably the case study for evidence of historic and even very recent systemic racism in the United States, right?
Hmm.
So for many years, banks and the federal government redlined neighborhoods that were
Hmm.
predominantly black, said you can't lend in these neighborhoods, deprived African American communities of generations of wealth building. But it seems to me that there is inherent in real estate, there is no race. A building isn't a black building or a white building, and people pay rent, right? How do you think about real estate in this uh, you know world where we're kind of sometimes sensitive to race issues? What's your take?
Sure. Um, I agree with the first statement as far as, problems with redlining and things of that nature. I recently just had my own house appraised. And of course, like my color was in the back of my mind. Is this going to affect the appraisal of my home? And things of that nature. But, when I think about real estate investing specifically, it can be an equalizer regardless of your race, regardless of your gender. But historically, in order for it to be an equalizer, you have to have the capital. You have to have the money to be able to play in that space. And that's why we're so excited about what we're doing, because we're really lowering the barriers when it comes to real estate investing. So on our platform, we typically like to have at least one deal where somebody can invest for, as little as $250. Of course, we also need those larger investments. We need people who are going to invest, at $10,000, at $50,000, whatever it may be. But our focus is really to get, those individuals who are only going to invest $250, $1,000, to get them also involved in this space. And that's really, what has driven us. And that's what our passion is about for this company.
Well, that is just fantastic. I'm so grateful that you're here today. We're going to take a quick break here. Folks, I'm here with Vontenea Stokes. She is the CEO and founder of Secure Living. It's a real estate crowdfunding portal, and she's done some amazing things. But when we come back, we're going to talk to her about her superpower. So stick around. You don't want to miss this discussion.
Raise up to $5 million or $75 million annually with regulated investment crowdfunding. Convert customers into investors and expand your reach. Get expert guidance from Crowdfund Holdings innovators to help ensure success. Contact us at solutions@crowdfund.holdings.
Want to learn from the world's great changemakers? Find your superpower. Subscribe to the Superpowers for Good newsletter at superpowersforgood.com. Make your strengths into superpowers that will change the world. Join the super crowd today. Superpowers4good.com.
Hope to raise money from the impact crowd. Good investors are as interested in community, social or environmental impact as you. Connect with Funding Hope, an SEC-registered FINRA member crowdfunding portal to learn how to raise capital from the impact crowd. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited. We're here with Vontenea Stokes, and she is the CEO and founder of Secure Living, a regulated crowdfunding portal. And she came at this for all the right reasons. I'm excited about what she's doing. But we're going to shift gears now and talk to her about her superpower. So stick around. You don't want to miss this. Vontenea, you really have done, amazing, impressive things. And I so admire the approach, the motivation you had in building Secure Living, right? You were a successful investor in real estate. You really didn't need to create Secure Living. You did that because you wanted to give more people the opportunity to learn from you, model you, starting with small dollars. I think that is really admirable, and I commend you for doing that. What is your superpower?
So, of course, I thought about this as I've watched other shows, but my superpower is really my faith, my relationship with Jesus Christ, and just knowing that everything that I have is so I can bless others. I've been blessed to bless others. And I can do nothing of my own strength. So just my faith is really what sustains me, and a big part of who I am. And I would say, in a roundabout way, that is my superpower.
Uh, not much roundabout that. That's really inspiring, and I'm grateful for you sharing that. Um, it's a deeply personal thing, and I appreciate you being open and honest with us. As you think about your faith and how that influences your life, can you think of a particular occasion where you recognized, maybe more specifically than other times, where you were really leaning on your faith in Jesus Christ to get you through a challenging circumstance and to overcome and accomplish something you're grateful
Mm.
and proud to have accomplished?
Yeah, there are so many. But I would say, one in particular that's really altered my life. It was actually living abroad in Europe. So I had the opportunity to live in Germany, and even just going there was really, stepping out on faith to leave everything I know, family, friends, to go to another country where I don't speak the language. Um, at that time I was employed by a manufacturer. So to even sit in meetings and say, hey, we're going to take this meeting in German and we'll fill you in afterwards, and okay. But I still have to do my job. So that was a very good experience, but it was also very challenging, and it did really require me to rely on my relationship with the Lord, and to keep just pushing forward, because it wasn't easy living in another country.
How long were you there?
Almost 4 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
did you eventually learn some German?
Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch, ja. Yes, I speak a little German.
Oh, that's great. That would be so intimidating, so scary. And I can see, I lived in China for a while,
Hmm.
and
Okay, wow.
yeah, it can be intimidating, to say the
Absolutely.
least. So I really can relate a little bit here. Um, Vontina, as you think about this superpower of yours and how that influences your life, how would you coach people to emulate that?
Mm,
I think there are a lot of people for whom that, some have lost that faith. Some, of course, have other faiths.
mhm,
Uh, some don't have a religious faith. How would you coach people to build that strength to the extent you have? What would you
mhm.
say?
Well, I would say, especially when we talk about faith, we talk about religion. People like to use the word religion. I like to more so use the word relationship, and that is my focus, to have a relationship with the Lord. And I would say, um, if when it comes to coaching, if you want to call it that, if people want to explore, have a relationship with Christ and things of that nature, it is about the relationship. Sometimes I think people get very, religious, and I need to do X and Y and Z to have a happy life, and things of that nature. But more so, it's just seeking the Lord daily. That would be, the coaching that I would give. Let's put it that way, is just seeking the Lord daily.
Yeah, that makes great sense. Great sense. I hate to put you on the spot, but as our guest of honor, the star of the show, how do you operationalize that in your life? That idea of trying to build that relationship on a daily basis.
Mhm.
What's your approach to that?
For me personally, it's prayer. So um, I try to, make quiet time with me and the Lord every day. So in my quiet time, that means prayer. That means listening to, certain music, worship music. That means, reading my Bible. Those are things that I enjoy, things I try to do every day. I don't do them every day. Let me admit, I am far, far, far from perfect. But those are things, practical things I do every day, and also just being around individuals who will encourage me, and also walk with me in my journey of my faith. I think those are all points that are needed and necessary. They're necessary for me.
I think that's brilliant. It's, uh, you know, cultivating that faith is can be challenging, I think, for people. And so I appreciate you being a little bit vulnerable and authentic and honest with us, because that's challenging stuff. Well, before we wrap up here, I wonder if we could get you to just take a minute or two and tell people how they can uh, really do three things. We want them to be able to connect with you and the way that you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to be able to learn how to invest on secure living. So take a minute, tell us about that, and how else they can engage with you in secure living. So just take a minute.
Sure. So our website is www.securelivingrei for real estate investing .com. And I would encourage anybody who's interested to go ahead and register for an account. That is the easiest and best way to get like up to date information about the deal flow, the opportunities, ones that are coming live, ones that are closing. So to register for an account. On social media, people can reach out using the same handle that's at securelivingrei.com. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And for me personally, I love talking to people. So feel free to pick up the phone and call us. That number is 704-562-0019. Blow up the phone because, we like having conversations and being open and transparent and learning about what people need. And that helps us do our job better.
Oh, fantastic. Well, again, Vontenea, we thank you for taking the time to be with us today. We're so grateful. We love what you're doing and we want to see you succeed. And so we wish you all the luck and all the success you can imagine.
Thank you very much, Devin. Thank you for having me on the show.
All righty. Let's do some good.